Xanthé Mallett is a criminologist at the University of Newcastle and she joins me now from Sydney. Xanthé Mallett, thank you so much for your time. Just how unusual is it for a child to be found after being missing for more than 2 weeks?
Well, in stranger abductions such as this, it's unique in my experience. I've looked at a number of cases, not only in Australia, but in the UK and the US, and I've never seen anything like this. When a child is taken by a stranger, sadly, they're normally killed very quickly, usually within the first 3 hours. So when we stretched into 24 hours, 48 hours, and as the days have progressed, I've become more and more fearful that the news would be bad. So I was elated yesterday to be wrong about that, and to see those images of Cleo in the hospital was really special.
Yeah, much like all of us, elated definitely describes it. Now, police have said it is a needle in a haystack finding Cleo Smith. What do you think led to the breakthrough?
I think, as we heard in that piece just before we spoke, good police work. You know, they were obviously very tactical, very strategic from the beginning. They had a lot of people on the ground in Carnarvon, really engaging with the community, because there was always, from an outsider's perspective, from my perspective, I always thought that this was going to be somebody with local connections, because it was somebody who knew that campsite. So the fact that she was so close to that campsite and so close to Cleo's home wasn't a surprise to me. So the fact that they engaged so well with that community and had them on board, they had the whole community eyes on everyone, reporting anyone suspicious. So I think that was really key in this investigation, is just great old-fashioned boots on the ground police work.
Yeah, you touched on it there. Carnarvon is such a small place. The population is just over 5,000. Could she have been found sooner?
Well, I mean, we can always look back with hindsight and say, could we have done this differently? Could we have done that differently? But I think the main focus needs to be on the fact that the police threw everything at this right at the beginning. They built a really big task force, offered that reward really early on, which I think was going to incentivize people to come forward, as well as keep the pressure on the abductor or abductors. So, you know, I think they did everything right. So can we look back and say they did things differently? Well, at the end of the day, they got the result that everybody was hoping for. Cleo is alive and physically well and back with her family. So I think that's really where that we should focus and really commend them for the excellent work that they've done.
You mentioned that $1 million reward. Do you think someone could have come forward with information? Police say the house that Cleo was found in only became a focus on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously somebody may have had a tip and come forward to police. People were looking at others in the community, looking for suspicious activity. So could it have been the reward that incentivized somebody to come forward? Yes, maybe. But ultimately, that whole community and in fact, the whole of Australia really wanted to see Cleo found alive and unharmed. So was it that? If so, then I don't think anyone would begrudge them that $1 million reward, because at the end of the day, Cleo is home. But I think for most people, the reward is seeing her in her parents' arms, in the hospital, safe and unharmed.
When police say that mobile phone tower data may have helped, what does that mean, just for us in the general public who don't really have an understanding of how police can use that technology?
So what they can do is actually use that mobile data to track people's movements, to see which particular mobile phone towers are pinging mobile phones at certain times, so they can help locate people using that information in association with CCTV, etc. So it's a good way of ruling people in and out of investigations, as they can basically provide alibis based on that type of data.
Now, I wanted to ask about the impact on the victim and the family. Will police attempt to interview Cleo Smith?
Well, I imagine they would have to, but they will have to be very sensitive about that. She would be considered a vulnerable witness, obviously, because of her age and what she has been through. So they will absolutely need to talk to her to get as much information about what has happened across those 18 days as possible. But they will do that very sensitively in conjunction, I imagine, with a child psychologist, to make sure that they don't cause any further trauma and that they're really being sensitive to both Cleo's needs and that of her family, because don't underestimate the impact this will have had on her mother, her stepfather, and the other family members and close friends as well. So they're going to need to be very sensitive in how this is managed, but they will absolutely do that with the experts.
Yeah, the ongoing trauma, I think, is what quite a few people are now worried about. Where does this investigation go next?
Well, really, this is just step one. We have somebody who's in custody, yet to be charged, as we have heard. So really now the police have to continue with that investigation, really looking to collect as much forensic and other evidence as possible to build a case against the alleged abductor and potentially, you know, make sure that they do have the right person. So they're going to work on that now. So this is going to be a protracted investigation. So whilst to the public it looks like it's over and Cleo is certainly home with her family, really now the next stage of this investigation begins.
Xanthé Mallett, really good to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.